Hi everyone, welcome to Come Alive, your source of teaching and training ideas. Before we begin, please click on that subscribe button and the notification bell to receive updates. You can also visit our Facebook page, send us an email, or leave some comments. How to teach reading English the fastest and most effective way. This is the English language version, and it's the first of 3 parts. In response to the news, we have read that there are senior high school students who are struggling to read English. This is our humble contribution. We hope that this will help teachers in teaching reading and comprehension. Module 1 is about how do we read. You will need a notebook or a piece of paper and a pen for this video. For the purposes of this module, reading means reading and comprehension. Now, a foreign language learner who says, "I can read the words, but I don't know what they mean," is not therefore reading in this sense. He or she is merely decoding, translating written symbols into corresponding sounds. For example, please read the text on your screen. You can pause the video and spend at least 5 minutes for this. Unit 1 attempts to clarify and illustrate some aspects of the nature of reading, as previously defined. It consists mainly of a task which examines assumptions through experiment. Here we have some assumptions about the nature of reading. First, we need to perceive and decode letters in order to read words. Second, we need to understand all the words in order to understand the meaning of a text. Third, the more symbols, letters, or words there are in a text, the longer it will take to read it. Fourth, we gather meaning from what we read. And lastly, fifth, our understanding of a text comes from understanding the words of which it is composed. For our first task, let's examine how we read. Stage 1 is preliminary thinking. Think about the statements shown in the previous slide. Do you agree or disagree with them? Do you agree but with reservations? Think about or discuss these statements and perhaps note down your responses. Again, you can pause the video while you write your answers. The next task is examining how we read. Stage 2, we will have short experimental readings. Now try reading some short texts and see whether the results make any difference to or confirm your answers. If you look at the next slide, you will probably be able to read the words with a little difficulty. Could you read it? The conclusion would be that we can read words without necessarily being able to identify and decode single letters. In this case, you read a word by fitting its general visual shape into a sense context. Next, let's have a reading test. Carefully read the following 3 texts. Which takes you most time to read, and which the least? How long does it take you to read these? What does this mean? Most people find that the first 2 texts take about the same time to read. The third is noticeably quicker. This is fairly clear indication that it is not accurate to say that there is a simple one-to-one relationship between the amount of text, words or letters, and the speed of reading. What appears to be more significant is the number of sense units, letters combined into meaningful words, or words combined into meaningful sentences. A text will take more or less time to read according to the number and coherence of these kinds of units, rather than simply according to the amount of words and letters. Read quickly. Finally, read the following text as quickly as you can. Did you notice that the second occurrence of the word horse was spelled house? If you did not, this does not mean that you are a bad reader, but rather the reverse. You are looking for meanings and understanding the text in terms of its overall sense. Successful reading results from the understanding you bring to a text, which is often based, as here, on previous knowledge of a type of story or context. Where this conflicts with the actual words you see on the page, you will, usually rightly, prefer to rely on your general understanding. Stage 3 will be drawing conclusions. But let me ask you a question. In the experiments that we did, do you need to revise your original responses to the statements you originally made and have noted? Here are our conclusions, comments, and synthesis. First, reading activities should probably stress reading for comprehension rather than exact decoding of letters. When beginning to read a text, or where there is little or no helpful context, we depend on decoding letters to understand words. But as soon as there is meaningful context, we tend to bring our own interpretation to the word, according to its general shape and the sense of the text, then according to its exact component letters. Second, the implication of this for teaching is probably that we should not insist too strongly on our learners understanding every word, but rather encourage them to go for the overall meaning of a text. We need to understand some words in order to understand the meaning of a text, but by no means all. We often skip or misread words in order to make sense of the whole more quickly or conveniently. Third, learners therefore will probably read more successfully if given whole, meaningful units of text to read rather than disconnected bits. The more sense units there are in a text, the longer it will take to read it. If smaller sense units, like words or sentences, are combined into bigger, coherent ones, sentences and paragraphs, the whole is much faster to read than if they are separate or incoherent. Fourth, the word gather implies that somehow the meaning of the text is there in the words, and all we need to do is pick it up. However, our understanding is based on far more than simple reception of the words themselves, and the process of reading would be better defined as constructing meaning from a written text. Fifth, The construction of meaning that occurs in reading is a combination of bottom-up processes, decoding and understanding words, phrases, and sentences in the text, and top-down ones, our expectations, previous knowledge construct, schema of the text content and genre. And lastly, it is very difficult or sometimes impossible to read successfully a text where our own schema cannot be brought to bear. Our synthesis, therefore, is learners should be encouraged to combine top-down and bottom-up strategies in teaching, which means, in practice, doing such things as discussing the topic of a text before reading it, arousing expectations from the text, eliciting connections between references in the text, and situations known to the learners. We hope that you have learned ideas from this video that you can apply to your lessons. So thank you for watching. We look forward to sharing the second part here on our channel. Please subscribe, click the notification bell, like and leave comments. Until next time, keep safe, dear teachers.